What it is, y'all, it's your old boy Pilk, and I'm coming back today with more Danmachi. We need to talk about the latest heroic trial, because this is another really simply easy one. Once again, guys, I can't stress enough, water is preferred here, and if you did not spec into the water team, like I've been telling you to basically for 8-9 months now, nothing I can really do about that. The water team, they're just disgusting. Now, back up here for a moment, because you also notice that wind is preferred. So if you've got a really good Wrecker Buster team for the current Wrecker Buster, you can utilize that too. That team, either one, will really absolutely dominate this. In fact, I'm just going to do an auto run to show you how simple this is. Now, I have set up a skill flow. Basically, what's going to happen is starting from turn 3, everybody on this team is basically going to stick to their third skill. They're basically all going to focus on third skill and focus on one opponent. Usually, we should be focusing on Bell. If not, let me just go ahead and make sure that on this turn, Bell is our primary focus. Now, Winnie is going to provide a few resources here. Obviously, she's going to give, some healing and all that to Bell, but ultimately, the water team is just going to overrun this with just sheer brute force. So I'm going to go ahead and target Bell. And starting from this turn on, Water Bell, Aisha, and Aisha are going to focus on their skill 3. Mikoto's already single target, so she doesn't really have a huge amount to worry about. Now, you will notice Bell is producing some damage. So if you're coming at this with a team that's, less than +3 or whatever, you might be a little leery of the early damage she's producing. But we're going to wipe him out here in really, really short order. Because while he does produce damage, ultimately the amount of damage that my team produces is just overwhelming. And if you have a water team, the water team will absolutely crush this event. No questions asked. So, turn 6... should have been a triple SA. I don't know why it waited until turn 7. But anyway, turn 7, we're going to come out of the gate. Now, normally we'd do a Haruhime SA. We don't really need to do that. Everybody's pretty much got a strength buff, and that's going to be plenty. And so I'm going to do an SA here with Bell. That's going to give everybody 100% water damage. Aisha's going to get 80% damage per each self-strength buff. And I believe it's actually strength and water buff. And Mikoto is going to get 100% damage. So, even though we don't have the 120% strength that we would normally be holding out for, no, this is going to be hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Okay? She survived Aisha's attack by, the thinnest margin. If your Aisha is, I don't know, affinity level 40 or higher, she might not even, survive that. It could be a complete bloodbath. But, obviously, Mikoto comes out with a 1.9 mil attack, and when he falls, absolutely crushed. So, once again, guys, I can't stress enough, this water team is insane. If you have the wind team from Wrecker Buster, and even if everybody's, let's say +3 or higher, you should be able to absolutely crush this. Just make sure you focus on single targets. I actually didn't even rebuff any of our extra actions, because when it comes to the water team especially, but most teams, in fact, when you're using AoE units that have really big buffs like I'm using, you don't necessarily need to rebuff their extra actions, because it's literally precious time taken away from doing the big attacks. And that's just the real end-all be-all of it here. So, just doing skill 3 all the way from turn 3 to turn 7, and then doing that triple SA, as you can see, dominated. Now, obviously from this point on, I can just drop skip tickets, though honestly I'm not going to. I'm just going to continue running this. I'm going to save my skip tickets for the current event. Now, what should you acquire here with your points? And that's kind of the interesting question. Now, we do have the I'm working Hestia. Usually I recommend the assists. I don't recollect what she does, but I can tell you I have not used her in a really long time. Decisive Will Bell and Drake's Guard Winnie. I'm going to save Drake's Guard for last because I think she's actually going to be my recommendation, I believe. But let's just double check everything here. Now, the I'm Working Hestia. Let's just go down here and grab her. I have not used this unit in an exceptionally long time. But let's see what she does here. Let's go max limit break. Damage received attack all targets increases by 15%. Guard rate down 25%, and allies penetration rate and critical rate plus 10%. So it's actually still really, really good. Now, she has been power crept a couple times. She is an old unit. But here's the deal. If you do not have an all-target defensive buff and a guard rate offensive debuff, she's a phenomenal unit. So actually, if you have her like +3, +4, and you're just looking to max limit break a unit, and you don't really have these in another unit, this is a great choice because she does a number of phenomenal things. I would actually say, for me, she's choice number 2. But honestly, I've got other units that do the same thing. I'm not really losing sleep over this unit. And truly, honestly, for me, I already kind of know what I'm going to go after, but let's go look at Decisive Will Bell, and then I'll tell you what I'm going to choose here in just a moment. So, which bell is that? That's, is that this bell? No, that's the Unbreakable Freeze. Blazing Freeze. I want to say it's not the light. That's Gleaming Freeze. Oh my goodness. How far back does this one go? There's Decisive Will. Oh, this unit. I actually really like this unit. So, this bell's an AoE. So, there's so many bells, it's hard to keep track sometimes. But, this bell's really good. So, skill 1 is a fast, high-fire physical attack with ultra encounter rate. Self +1 action. Physical... Now, notice that is 1 action. Fire physical attack. Foes fire resist down 35%. So, he attacks, like, everybody, and drops their fire resist 35%. Now, that can be replicated. So if you have like Haruhime or somebody like that that does replication, that is a good tactic. Not end of the world stuff, but very good. Skill 2 is a fast mid-fire physical attack with high penetration rate, status buff, and allies debuff -2 turns. So a good unit all the way around. And his skill 3 is actually an AoE skill. Super fire physical attack with temporary strength boost, critical rate, and self 30% MP heal. Good unit, but I'm going to be honest, I've honestly not used this unit in a really long time. And his SA does do fire physical attack with temporary great strength boost, ultra penetration rate, and physical resist, magic resist, and fire resist, all down 50%. His SA is probably the best thing about him. But I'm going to be honest with you, we do have 60% units out now. Now, to be fair, I don't think we have anybody that's physical and magic resist, plus fire resist down 60%. So there is a benefit to this unit. But I'm going to put him as my third option, my third skill. Because if I go down here, let's just filter this down by Winnie units. I use Winnie all the time. In fact, you'll notice that I use her on my team. This Winnie, and she's actually one that I've used before in teams, and she's become way more useful than she ever has been before for one solid reason. We'll talk about it when we get around to talking about Record Buster. But I have my +3. I really want to max Limit Breaker, because when it comes to Earth teams, she's a unit that you basically want on Earth Record Buster almost all the way up to the end, in at least most situations. Any Record Buster where debuffs are removed, she's going to be good basically up to the end. Normally, and under normal circumstances, we would have used her early game, let her get her SA off. Because remember, her SA, and that's the best thing about her hands down, is all target and single target down 50%. That is insane. I don't think we have anybody that can touch either all or single target at 50%, let alone both skills at 50%. This is a unit that's not likely to get power crept for a very long time. And for that reason, she's my #1 pick, and she's the one I'm going to go for. But here's the thing. Normally, prior to some of the recent updates we got, this is a unit that I would kind of relegate to being like level 60 or something like that. But since we recently have acquired equips that will more or less allow me to nerf her health, she's a unit that can still be functional in that early realm of gaming, i.e. what you do, throw on her team, give her the right equip, it'll nerf her health, and she'll get taken out early. So basically she'll come in, do an early SA, and then shortly thereafter kind of be, I hate to say killed off, but it is what it is. That is life. It hurts my heart every time I do it, but by God, that's how the mechanics of the game currently work. Now, prior to getting those items and that mechanic itself, you would have to choose basically whether you want to relegate her to that effect or whether you want to max limit break her. Now, if you have her max limit broken with the equip, you can still do this. So, for that reason and that reason alone, Winnie is my number one choice. Number 2 choice would be Hestia. Number 3 choice would be Belle. I really feel like, honestly, if you put yours in Belle, you're probably not going to use them very much. I feel like if you put her and put them in Winnie, you're going to be using her for a very, very, very long time. I just don't see her, I don't want to say ever getting usurped, but it's going to be a while. So therefore, for my Bond choice, Winnie's number 1. Hestia is a good number 2, but you want to make sure you don't have another unit that kind of overshadows her. And then number 3 would be Belle, but honestly, I don't think I've used that Belle in a really long time. Even though I do like his skill, the reality is I think he's a unit that is probably not going to be, he's not going to get much utility. So, that is my two cents on the matter. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments section down below. Like, comment, share if you want to know about the mechanics and about those equips. I've made videos on those throughout the channel several times over. In fact, when they dropped, I actually did cover them. But just to kind of tell you what I'm looking at here, just if we go to crafting, and I believe it's the ornament weapon. Is it? Am I right here? Is it the Princess Earcuffs? So it'll do max HP down 50%, 60%, 70%, 80%, or 90%. And basically, depending upon those numbers you have, I think most of mine are at 70%. It'll give your unit basically a boost in her other stats, but with a major HP reduction. So you can control when she's able to be taken out of the match to a certain extent. And that just makes her a little bit weaker so that she can be utilized. Even though she's max limit broken, her HP is low enough. She is an early and divisive piece out. Or decisive piece out. But neither here nor there, guys. The Princess Earcuff is a phenomenal tool. A recent addition. And really changes that character. Makes that character just so much more useful than she was great and amazingly useful before. She has so much more utility now. So go get Winnie, guys. Like, comment, share, and I'll catch you all in the next one.